Hey everybody, Coaster Brian here. Today we're looking at another figure unboxing and review. Now, this isn't a brand new figure, but it is the Hot Toys Marvel Avengers Infinity War MMS539 Star-Lord. As you can see from the front of the box, sorry, my review space is a little bit tight, so I know we're kind of zoomed in here, but the height of the box is of your standard Hot Toys size. I do like the artwork on the front of the different colors of the Avengers A, and then black into the color of Star-Lord here. It's the same kind of layout of and setup of your typical Infinity War Hot Toys releases. Also, sorry if there's any background noises with cars and stuff like that, I apologize. But that's the front, portrait on the side, kind of continues the portrait as you can see. It says Star-Lord on the back. Some information, some warnings. On the side again, it says Star-Lord, you have the Infinity Gauntlet. And on the top, Star-Lord again. They want to make sure you know who you're buying. And the bottom, Marvel Avengers Infinity War. So this is a slip cover kind of style. And again, we have the box here with the display window. You do have the kind of Guardians symbol on the side. On the back, just the Avengers A and the cast and crew of the figure. Nothing over here. And then again, the front. So the figure is out of the box if we do open. So inside you can see one of the accessories we'll look at later, but it is the kind of the Doctor Strange kind of warping effect during the battle scene in Infinity War with Thanos. This is the plastic clamshell. Again, I have the figure out. So what we're going to do, we are going to take a look at all the accessories and take a little bit of a more in-depth look at the figure itself. Alright, so here everything I have laid out on the table. You can see kind of what this figure does come with. It's a decent amount of accessories to a point. So now let's just take a quick closer look at what it does come with. Now first, as always, when you do get a Hot Toys figure, or for that matter, any collectible, if it does come with some instructions or a user guide, definitely please take a look. This one came with these two sheets. So very quickly, just with this one here, it says insert warning B on it. Just some information, I think, about the batteries really in many languages. So you can take a look at that. And then, of course, here is the main instruction sheet for the Star-Lord figure. Again, just some more warnings about the outfit. When you open it up this way, information about how to swap the head sculpts. You have the regular and the light up, and how to operate the light up function on the light up head sculpt. On the back, how to change out that kind of morphing helmet effect on the Star-Lord standard head sculpt. How to holster the blasters and use some of the other accessories like the bubble effects or the gravity bomb. And then the lightning effect you would use with Thanos. It says mandalas of light that you would use in conjunction maybe with Doctor Strange. And then this graphic accessory and how to apply it to the figure stand. So that's basically it. So anyway, looking here, first to start with the hands, we have, of course, on the figure is already a kind of relaxed pair of hands. We do have the two trigger finger hands, just to bring one here. Of course, the paint applications are always very good. The speckling of the skin, it looks very, very realistic. So again, a pair for that. He does, of course, have the two blasters, so I think almost everybody will be using those two hands. The two fisted hands, again, same thing. You have that kind of vein detail and the skin speckling, what you'd expect from Hot Toys. You do have this one here. It's kind of like a holding hand. Maybe, I believe this is kind of a bomb in some way. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe this is meant for that. You may be able to squeeze that in. As you can see, it's a bit of a... You'll be stretching out the hand a little bit, but maybe that can fit in there. But I would think that's the only use of this hand. Maybe. But it does come with this. And about the hands, like always, you have your 2 extra wrist pegs if some do break, so always be careful. While we're checking stuff out in the bag, there's some extra buttons, just in case if on the figure itself some of those buttons fall off, they always give you extras. Speaking before in the instruction manual, the gravity bomb, this is the gravity bomb here. Now very quickly, in the instruction manual, you have this back side. You can see it's kind of, there's not a lot of detailing on this side. It's kind of just flat. This side kind of has that more detail. This is the side you want to be looking at when you articulate this piece. So on this piece, these 3 pieces do fold. That's this side. Again, the side with this detail. So about the blasters, again, you get the 2, the different kinds. So this figure, if you don't know already, is a bit of a kind of re-release of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Star-Lord figure. There are some differences, of course, in the accessories and on the figure itself. So a lot of these are going to be very similar to those counterparts. I do believe on this, the paint apps on this version, the Infinity War version on the gun, maybe even the kind of the heat effect, I believe is a little bit different. And some of the paint's a little bit different, but still the painting effect is fantastic. That kind of carbon fiber detailing, the paint wear, again, that heat effect, it's all excellent. The paint apps for these blasters are great. And again, you get those 2. And like I showed before, you can put that gravity bomb on the bottom here. You fold it up. Also, if you have seen the Infinity War film, you know in the movie, Thanos kind of changes with reality and makes Star-Lord's blaster shoot out bubbles. So you do get one of those. The effect, as you can see in this, is really crazy. That reflective effect. It's really, really interesting. But you do get that. And over here you have that tab that would fit in to the front of the blaster like that. And you would just squeeze in. And there you go. Again, only for the one blaster, because in the film he only shot the one blaster and the bubbles came out. So I can understand why there's only the one effect of this. And that's how you would use that. Now next, taking a look at this stuff here. Those are these mandalas of light. So these in the film during the battle scene, when all of the group of Avengers, when they were fighting Thanos, were working together. Doctor Strange used these to assist kind of Star-Lord when he was jumping in the air. So these you can slide on the feet. That's how you would use these pieces here. So very quickly with the figure. Again, you get the foot, you just kind of slide it on, just like that. I just did that very lightly. I didn't push that hard to do that. Maybe you can push a little bit more. But basically it just slides onto the feet. You don't have to apply a lot of pressure. It's just really resting on there. So that's a good thing. You're not going to scratch any paint. But these are very cool, especially if you do have the Doctor Strange figure, which I do. So it's a really nice piece, companion piece with those 2. And speaking of which, with the Doctor Strange figure, you do also have this as well. It's just a kind of plastic. Of course, this is in the protective sheet. I'm going to keep it in there. I'm not going to be using this. But this is the side. And of course, on the bottom here, you have that tab. You get this piece here, like in the instruction manual. You kind of have that groove. You would slide this in right here, put it on top of the figure stand, and you can have this effect. Here, you have this lightning effect. This is going to be used with it's meant to be used with the Infinity War Thanos. And the gravity bomb here. So on the bottom, you have that kind of triangular outline. That's where you want to put in the gravity bomb, and then you can have it on the bottom. But basically here within this top part, you would slide in Thanos's arm. So it's kind of like he's being held down to the ground from the gravity bomb. So if you can't tell already, with this release, a lot of these accessories are kind of companion pieces to other Infinity War figures within the line. Again, this is kind of used with Thanos. Next, we'll take a look here. This is the light up head sculpt. Very, again, like with Hot Toys, it's expected, the quality of paint. It looks great. Of course, this head is a bit thin, maybe to some people, when you compare it to the normal head sculpting. We'll take a look at that in a second. But again, it doesn't bother me. I think it looks great. The hair paint apps, everything looks fantastic. Here are the batteries. It does come when you purchase the 2 cell batteries. I don't put them in, but if you do want to put the batteries in, this just comes out. It just slides off. It's just plastic. And then you have here the switch, the on and off switch, if you want to use. I know the lights are very bright. They look very, very good. But of course, you can't leave that on for a long time. Those batteries are going to die very quickly. So when you're finished, there's these 2 slots, as you can see right here, and these 2 pegs right here. You just slide them back on, and then you just push very lightly, and it goes right back. It's very easy to do. Next here, we have this piece here again. This is that morphing effect of this helmet being appearing, I guess you would say, on the normal Star-Lord head sculpt. This is, I believe, 4 pieces on the front here. This comes off. This is magnetic, as you can see by the magnets. And then you can take apart these from the sides. And same thing with that one. I'm going to leave that on there. And that's how you would place this on the head sculpt. If you look at the instructions, it tells you there. It's the same as the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release. You're going to want to be very careful when you do that. You don't want to scratch the paint on the Star-Lord head sculpt. And also, you can see how this is kind of put together. There's these tabs right here, and there's this tab here, and these kind of slots. And that's how you kind of groove it back in. It's not the best thing in the world. That's why I'm not going to use it. You can kind of also see here, there's that slot right there, that slot right there. It's difficult to do here. So when you have the head sculpt on, it's really kind of difficult. You may scratch the paint on the head, so just be aware of that. And then again, when you're done, the magnet goes back on. It's a really nice effect, but it's something maybe I'll use. It is really good and nice to display. And last accessory, you do have the figure stand. So here, your typical Infinity War figure stand. Just the painted on nameplate. You know, of course, we all would wish it was the metal nameplate, but I guess it's better than nothing. But you do have that. Nothing on the bottom. And this is one of the dynamic figure stands. I have this still in the plastic wrap. It's one of the dynamic figure stands with the waist grabber. All right. Now next, let's take a look at the Star-Lord figure itself. And here we are. Let's pan up. There we go. So as you can see, here is the Star-Lord figure. I do have that on. I'll talk about that in a second. But giving a quick just pan of the figure. Like I said before, it's kind of a re-release of the Guardians 2 Star-Lord figure. There are some differences I will talk about in a second. One of the main differences right from the start is the head sculpt. I do believe there is some paint app differences. It's very minor. I think the hair color is a little bit different between the 2 releases. The big difference is the eyes. If you look very closely, you can see the eyes are looking forward. On the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 version, they're looking off to the side. The detail on the head sculpt, as always, is great. You do have that earpiece that is the helmet. And again, looking back. While we are on this portion of the figure, one of the big problems with the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release was the staining of the red pleather on the the neck, leaving some red stains on the neck. So with this release of the figure, they did have this kind of plastic protector sleeve along the neck. Now, one of the other differences is this kind of armor piece here. As you can see, one thing I'm not crazy about, this is kind of floating. It doesn't look that great in my opinion. On the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release, I don't have that figure, I used to. I believe it's a bit smaller, it's a bit more back, and it's more flush. You can push this closer. I think if that were like that, naturally, it would be perfect. But when I let go, it's kind of hovering. Maybe you can heat this up and try to warp it. That's not. I'm not going to do that. But I do believe on the Guardians version, I don't know if it comes this high up, because when we talk about the articulation, it does kind of get in the way. It's still nice, but it is that floating. It is one kind of difference between the two releases. Another difference here, I'm not going to unzip this, but on the bottom, underneath the jacket is that black shirt. For the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release, it was that kind of gray shirt. This jacket can come off, but I will leave it on. But the jacket is still very nice. I think if you had both releases side by side, all those differences will be a little more obvious. But if you don't, this is still a very nice detailed jacket. You know, all the different textures, and in the elbow area, it's that fabric. So when you do articulate the figure, it's not ruining any pleather here. But again, this does unzip. You can unzip this, but I know getting this back zipped together, again, is a little bit challenging. So I'm just going to leave it alone. Down to the pants. Now the pants are a bit different. The designing on them are different. These silver pieces are not on the Guardians of the Galaxy 2 release. That's only on this one. I think the upper part is about the same design, but this area is a bit different. You do have the holsters for both of the blasters. That's the back. There you go. And then on the kind of shin guards, the boots, another big difference. In Guardians of the Galaxy 2, they had to use like wearable jetpacks. As we know with Star-Lord, like in the first Guardians movie and Infinity War, he does have the kind of rocket jets on his boots. So this figure does have that, and I do like that about this figure. That to me is more Star-Lord. When I think of that character, I think of him having these boosters on his boots. So I do like that inclusion. These are two separate pieces, so it helps with the articulation. But yeah, besides that, that's all the differences I know with the figure. And quickly just going about articulation, we'll start at the bottom. The ankle's on a ball joint. Again, it's two separate pieces, so you have a lot of range of motion to pose using the ankles. But being that these are two separate pieces, this figure, it's very easy for this figure to kind of fall forward. So if you're not going to use a stand to display the figure, be very careful. These can be a bit loose and easily fall forward. So again, these are two separate pieces. You have a double knee. It is actually ratcheted. It feels ratcheted. It's a very light ratchet, but it is actually, you can kind of hear that. It is a ratchet, it feels like, which is good. It's obviously both. You do have the thigh swivel, and of course, your articulation is limited to the clothing on this figure big time, especially on the upper body. That's as far comfortable I want to go sideways. As you can see, it gets kind of tight here. Forward, comfortably about right there. Back, let me get that regular. Back, you're looking about that much, comfortably. Can you mess with the clothes? Can you futz with the clothes to kind of get more range out of it? Probably. But for me, I'm not going to. So for here, the elbows, I do believe it is a double joint, but you're not going to get that with this jacket. That's as far as it'll go. As you can see, I'll push it up and it kind of goes back down. That's about as far as the articulation you're going to get, even with this not even being fully stretched. That's about it. You're really hindered with the jacket. Same on this side. This, of course, is a ball joint. You'll get that full range of motion with the hands. To go up with the arm, again, this pleather jacket is really going to hinder a lot of articulation. Comfortably, that is as far up I'm going to go. You do get a lot of range. You do have this shoulder piece here. It is floating. It's attached up here, so it's not going to ruin anything down here. But you do have that. The sideways articulation, again, about there, and you're going to be stretching this stitching right here, so be careful with that. Like I said before, if you futz with this figure, you can get more range. You just got to take that time and go slow and be careful. This side doesn't have this piece, so you'll get a little bit easier. It's a lot easier, a lot smoother to get that range going forward. It's just, again, that jacket is going to be slowing you down. Going backwards, you're not really going to get much. But a little bit more accessibility on this side because it doesn't have this armor piece. And for the head, again, it's on a ball joint. You get that left and right, that tilt up and down. Not much, but you do get some. But yeah, that's the articulation for this figure. If you don't have the Guardians 2 release of this figure, and all you really care about is getting the Star-Lord with a great Chris Pratt portrait, I think this is a great way to go because this figure is definitely a lot cheaper than the Guardians 2 releases. But those releases do have a lot more accessories. If you can get the deluxe version of the Guardians 2 figure, I would say, for a good price, I would say maybe go that way because you do get the longer jacket. You do get more accessories specifically for Star-Lord. If you can't get any of those for a good price and you just want this figure, or you want to get it with the head sculpt with the eyes looking straight and so on, this is still a great way to go. Just again, bear in mind the accessories are going to be very light for Star-Lord specifically. All right, so that's all for the Star-Lord review today. Again, if you can, like always, please leave a like. Please leave a comment down below. If you can hit that subscribe button, it's very helpful for me and for the growth of this channel. The purpose of my channel, like always, is I want to share my interests with you. Among those are figure reviews, doing some travel things around Japan or Tokyo Disney, and so on. So, thank you very much. Again, my name is Coaster Brian. Leave a comment about maybe what figures you'd like to see next. I'll do my best to try to get those figures in hand and give you a review. So, please stay safe, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.